Hey y'all, welcome to Fight Club. I'm Robert Durden. I'm going to do an episode taking down Mayo Pete, and it's oh so easy. He's a horrible person, and I'm not really sure he's a person. He might actually be some sort of robot or android. I'm not entirely sure he's human. So he's a really horrible entity, and of course he's the Secretary of Transportation under Joe Biden. He ran for president against Biden and Bernie in this last cycle. And I'd like to talk to you about what he said. I think it was on MSNBC yesterday. They were interviewing him about the infrastructure bill, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but a clip caught my eye, and that was the one that went kind of viral, where he actually started saying that a good way to pay for part of the infrastructure bill is a tax by the mile. And he was talking about it as he usually does in his mealy mouth. Oh, this is so progressive, but it's actually just faux progressive nonsense that he spews that most people eat up because they don't know any better. And of course, when you think about it, tax by mile, tax for an infrastructure plan, why? So what? That's just like toll booths. That's what toll booths are. So you're just like, my big progressive idea is like toll booths. And I'm not saying he wants to build more of them, but I mean, they might do a more technologically advanced style thing where it's just like, oh, here, everybody that's commuting has to put these things and put this app on your phone, and we'll just tax you as we see how far you drive every single week. Something like that. It's ridiculous. It only will target people that commute a lot, which rich people don't commute a lot. I got news for you. Only poor people and middle-class people commute regularly. So this is something that would absolutely tax the average everyday Joe way more than it would rich people. When, rich people could very easily be taxed to help pay for the infrastructure plan. That's why this stuff gets in my craw, is because Pete is very good at this, or this is what he at least tries to do, and he's good at it if he's got an audience in front of him that doesn't know any better. If you know anything about politics, you know he's not really good at it. But he's good at, like, maintaining a faux progressivism to his rhetoric. So it makes him seem like he's trying to actually progress the country, but he's just being pragmatic about it. When really, if you look into most of the stuff that he does, it's damage control for the elites, and it's actually regressive if you break it down into more than just what it says on face value. So he's a rat. He's absolutely a rat. Him dropping out along with Amy Klobuchar the day before Super Tuesday definitely lost Bernie the election. So, I mean, I absolutely hate Mayo Pete more than anybody else on the planet, just about. The other thing that I found that didn't get as much press is they asked him, what his goals are as far as getting towards electric vehicles in, government vehicles. And he, of course, tiptoed around it. He said, well, we don't really have that much of the cars out there, but we do have some that we can absolutely do. So we're gonna look into getting electric vehicles for the USPS, for police, for firefighters, for blah 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 blah. And I heard him say that first one, USPS. You already secured the contract. How are you going to, unless something has happened? Oshkosh Defenses was given the contract by Biden on February 20th, something like that. So I did a show on it. You have already given out the electric vehicle contract to Oshkosh Defenses, who does not make electric vehicles. They're a military contractor. The closest thing they make is a hybrid engine. A biodiesel hybrid is the best they make. They've never made an electric vehicle. And in the contract, they said that they're not even going to make the entire new fleet of USPS trucks electric vehicles. They're only going to make a portion of them electric vehicles. Most of them are going to be biodiesel hybrids, which doesn't help us enough if you want to curb climate change. So again, and why didn't they give it to an electric vehicle company like Workhorse, based in Wisconsin? You could have A, had all electric vehicles. B, they underbid Oshkosh by, I heard, 40%. I was never able to clarify that number. It was tweeted at me a little bit, but I heard as much as 40%, and they still didn't get it. And then the other thing is, they had to install, or they're building currently, the factory that Oshkosh is going to make these vehicles in when Workhorse already had a factory built. They needed like millions of dollars up front just to build the factory. And so Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg actively picked the company that is not e-vehicles, that is going to cost more money, which is tax money from you and I, to give it to Oshkosh, and they don't have a fucking factory built already. So they actively tried to not give this contract to an e-vehicle company. So, as usual, Pete Buttigieg is absolutely full of shit. That contract has been secured for 2 months. Or a month. Anyway, I did a show on it about a month ago. So, I mean, I don't know what e-vehicles they're talking about. I mean, maybe they do the police vehicles. I don't know of any contracts that are up for that. A lot of the places I've seen have pretty new, like, Dodge Charger police vehicles. I don't know any place that has, old police vehicles right now that need to be updated. There may not be another contract up for that stuff. Or fire engines, stuff like I don't know. But I know for a fact that the USPS fleet is going to be, at best, biodiesel hybrids. So Mayo Pete is full of shit. And the idea of like basically an updated version of toll booths is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. People really need to start seeing through this guy, because I fear that he actually might be the next VP. It's going to be when Kamala Harris takes over here, which will be between 2 and 4 years. It's going to be either Buttigieg or Klobuchar, and I fear either one of them becoming VP. But I mean, it can't be any worse than Pete Buttigieg if you're talking about neoliberals. There is not an honest bone in his body. In that book I was talking about that called Lucky, a lot of people close to him even called him bloodless. Those are their words verbatim, is that he was considered a bloodless human being, which is, again, brings me full circle. I'm not entirely sure he's not just some android or some sort of robot. So fuck Pete Buttigieg. He's not going to get anything done as Secretary of Transportation. All he's doing is trying to pad his resume so he can be VP and then eventually President of the United States. So I'll do one more episode minimum today, guys. You guys keep fighting the good fight out there. I'll see ya.